This is WFYI News Now. It's August 14th, and I'm Abriana Herron. On today's show, the passing rate on Indiana's third grade reading exam is the highest it's been since before the pandemic. A new plan could change how votes are cast in Hamilton County. And we have a feature story about more accounts coming to light recently of misconduct inside the Hogsett administration.
Throughout the years, I have witnessed a lot and have been through a lot of abuse, mentally, verbally, and that takes a toll.
Those stories coming up, but first. For the past year, homeless people living in their cars were able to stay in one of 3 parking lots in Indianapolis through a program called Safe Park Indy. But now, as Ben Thorpe reports, that pilot program is coming to a close, with organizers saying they do not have the resources to continue.
Parking lots allowed 20 guests to stay for up to 60 days. Before the program launched, organizers said they had a wait list of over 100 people. That list grew to roughly 400 before the pilot ended. Elizabeth Friedland launched Safe Park Indy. She says their all-volunteer staff was overwhelmed by work that would require full-time employees.
What we have realized, unfortunately, is that the need is so great and even much greater than we had anticipated that we just can't run it as a volunteer team anymore.
Friedland says she is currently speaking to nonprofit groups and has reached out to the city in hopes that they can find people willing to take over the project. I'm Ben Thorpe.
The passing rate on Indiana's third grade reading exam rebounded this year to the highest it's been since before the pandemic. The statewide average jumped nearly 5 percentage points, the largest increase in the history for the test. Indiana Secretary of Education Katie Jenner says the gains show the state's focus on elementary literacy skills is paying off.
Celebrate the moment. And tomorrow we get up and keep our foot on this gas pedal, because it was stated the toughest part is not just maintaining, it's continuing to improve.
More than 87% of Indiana third graders passed the reading test. Indiana made several targeted moves to increase literacy. Teachers can participate in trainings. State colleges are required to follow evidence-based practices and educator training. And a new state law tightens a requirement for schools to hold back students who have not passed the exam. A new plan could change how votes are cast in Hamilton County. Jeremy Rubin has more on what residents can expect if the plan is adopted.
The new voting plan would replace the current precinct-based arrangement where voters must vote at their assigned polling place. The new plan would allow voters to place their ballots at any polling location in the county. Some have voiced concern about one part of the plan that would reduce the number of polling places from 111 to 52 locations. Hamilton County Election Administrator Beth Scheller says the county's ability to process votes won't be hurt by the change.
It'll be the same number of machines. It'll be the same number of poll pads. You're going to be checked in just as quickly as you would if we had 111 locations.
County citizens have 30 days to submit written statements about the plan by sending emails to the Hamilton County Election Board. After 30 days, the plan will receive a vote. I'm Jeremy Rubin.
And for our final story today. Last summer, stories of sexual harassment and misconduct inside Mayor Joe Hogsett's administration came to light, leading to an independent investigation. But some who made allegations say the findings fell short. The National Women's Defense League represented 7 people who had come forward with experiences of misconduct. Jill Sheridan sat down with one of those people, DeAndre Baker, to talk about his experience of harassment and discrimination inside a city department.
Can you talk a little bit about what happened to you inside the Department of Public Works, DPW? Can you talk a little bit about your experience and why you've come forward now?
I started working for DPW 2020. The first incident I had was, I believe it was November, where I was sexually assaulted. When that happened, the first thought process was, I hate to actually say this, being a part of the LGBTQ plus community, I've experienced this type of behavior before. especially when it comes to nightlife. You going out and people bumping you and thinking that you're attractive. Bringing that up to say when it happened, my mind immediately calmed me down. Like, this has happened to you before. But then it hit me, you're at work. This is a professional setting. The first process was to protect myself. Immediately, I started looking around for cameras, for someone to believe me and say, hey, this happened, this is when it happened, check the cameras. And then I realized there was no cameras. And I realized who would believe me. So what I started to do was record and document every altercation that I had with anyone that was a superior. Throughout the years, I have witnessed a lot and have been through a lot of abuse, mentally, verbally, and that takes a toll on one person. It just got to the point where it broke me down. Anytime I asked for help working for DPW, I never got it. I was told pretty much, be grateful you have a job. And if you didn't want to do it, this is an at-will state. We can fire you without any cause.
And then ultimately, what did happen?
I was terminated for fighting for myself, for speaking up.
And you experienced other forms of misconduct.
One of my supervisors called me a sissy, called me a little girl. He came at me. He completely came at me. My safe space working there was always being in the dispatch office. I felt safe there around the women. There was another gentleman there that was also a dispatcher. So he came and got me and pulled me out of my safe space to chastise me, called me names, and it was aggressive. He snatched keys out of my hand, and when he snatched the keys out of my hand, it caused my fingernail to bleed, or two of my fingernails to bleed. And immediately I reacted. I got loud, and I kind of ran into the dispatch office where he followed, and he continued to verbally attack me.
So you ended up filing charges of discrimination, and then the city responded. Talk about the experience, when you got this response.
The position statement, the response was exactly what I thought it was going to be, because that's exactly how I was treated. But I knew for a fact that they weren't going to take responsibility for anything. And again, they didn't know that I had document proof to debunk everything that they were lying about in the position statement. I was ready. I was sad a little bit, but I dealt with it for so long to the point where I was just like, okay. But then when I saw it, I was just like, oh, they just simply blamed me.
What would be an ideal, fix?
I would honestly say that Hossett needs to resign. That's the first thing. I believe there's a lot of apologies that needs to take place, even if he's not aware, as he says, and things of that nature. You are the mayor of Indianapolis. Take ownership in the people that you've put in the places that they're in. I feel as though there's clearly something else at play. And that's for me. I'm looking in, just seeing it, because it makes no sense.
Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you so much.
That was ex-city employee DeAndre Baker talking with Jill Sheridan about his experience working for the city. That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by Drew Daudelin and Zach Bundy, with support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Our news director is Sarah Neal-Estes. Kendall Antron produced our music, and I'm your host, Abriana Herron. If you like today's episode, remember to subscribe and share, and follow WFYI on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow.